Hi, and welcome to our weekly chat about intimate conversations with God. This week, we start off with the very last verse in Judges, and we can clearly see why the Israelites ran amok. Judges 21:25 in the Message. At that time, there was no king in Israel. People did whatever they felt like doing. You know, that's what gets us in trouble every time. We do our own thing and we don't follow the Lord. Then our intimate conversations turn into the journey in the book of Ruth, a story about an obscure and uprooted widow who then becomes the great-grandmother of David and an ancestor of Jesus. Let me read what I wrote about the book of Ruth. This book was written during the time of the Judges. Its main focus is the sovereignty of God, with an emphasis on God's sustaining mercy. It gives an account of love and loyalty and how God uses ordinary people to accomplish extraordinary things. It begins with famine, death, and loss, but it ends with Boaz, the kinsman redeemer, bringing about Ruth's restoration. It's a beautiful story. We're going to have great intimate conversations. We end this week with a verse from 1 Samuel. After the dark days of the Judges, Israel rejects God as their king and asks them for a human king, like the pagan nations had around them. This is what I wrote about the book of 1 Samuel. This book describes a time when the Israelites did get discouraged with having judges and cry out to have a king. God instructs the prophet Samuel to anoint Saul as their first king. His reign begins well, but he soon begins living a disobedient lifestyle. While this is happening, God is preparing a new king for Israel, a young shepherd boy named David. David grows in faithfulness while Saul sinks into more and more depravity. The lives of Saul and David are prime examples that show us we each have opportunities to make a mess or make a difference. Somebody asked me a question this week, and I thought, well, maybe I would share the question and kind of some tips. The question was, what happens if I read the verse and I don't hear anything? One of the things that I do is I take my Bible and I just read the whole chapter where the verse comes from. This puts it in its context, and the Lord speaks to me through the whole chapter. Another thing I do is I ask myself a question. What would a loving Father share with me from this verse? I hope those tips help. Thanks for chatting with me and listening to me. Please post on my Facebook, Intimate Conversations, and enjoy your conversations this week.